Hey, welcome to another 3 Minutes with Ryland. I want to talk about one more session that I attended today. This one was on establishing psychological safety for teams and employees, people in general, and why it's important. And the presenter did a great job of handling this topic. They were talking about the research from Google, about how psychological safety is basically the root of getting everything else done. You can't have a team if the team members don't feel safe. And a lot of the psychological safety stuff out there, I think, is very Googleable, no pun intended. So I'm pretty sure you can look that up. The thing I found that was really interesting and exciting that was a little different in this session is we went off a certain piece of a script. The presenter was talking about the alternate stances, let's say, to taking responsibility for your emotional well-being in any given situation, your emotional reactions to things. And basically, the best position to have is one of responsibility. Like if you get mad or angry or defensive or hurt or you try to appease or whatever to restore emotional safety in a situation, I should say psychological safety in the situation. The right term, by the way, I'm going to screw it up more times, is psychological safety. So the alternatives to this level of responsibility, to owning it and saying, I am responsible for my psychological safety and I'm going to take steps to manage it, are a number of defensive structures. And those include feeling just obligation, basically feeling put upon, quitting, walking away from it, throwing it down, saying I'm not doing this, feeling shame about your reaction to it, justifying your reaction to it, like look what you made me do would be an example. That's going to come back to us in a minute. And then laying blame and denial. So these are all things that were going on. And one of the things that came out in the conversation, because it isn't directly addressed in the material, and I just love this part, was the fact that none of these things are sometimes, there's one of these that's missing, which is quitting is generally referred to as kind of a Cartman thing, and screw you guys, I'm going home. However, if your psychological safety is threatened because you're in a toxic or abusive situation, we want to make sure we put the right spin on this. You have the right to say, you know what, I'm not actually responsible for this thing. You don't have the right to beat up on me. And maybe I have or haven't, met this responsibility in some way, and it's appropriate to call me on it. But if you are imposing a responsibility on me, or you are attacking me for how it is being handled, it is not quitting to exit a toxic situation. It is a form of being responsible to yourself. Okay? So that's an important distinction to make. All of these other ones are ones to avoid, or at least own. Again, Ryland's terms on these things, Ryland's view on what he wrote. They're things to own so that you can come back to a position of appropriate responsibility. But if someone's putting you in a situation that's toxic, and it isn't actually your responsibility, perhaps they're just making you own it or something similar, well, exit isn't a bad strategy, and it is different than quitting. And I guess I wanted to point that out. Like, quitting in a Cartman way, one thing. Quitting in a healthy way, like this is no longer my place, this is the wrong place, I shouldn't be in this place, and those are valid statements as opposed to just offensive ones, that's, I think, an interesting statement to think about. And it goes again to psychological safety. Maybe it goes to a thing about the Great Resignation these days. I don't know. But it really struck me as an important point. So I wanted to share it today. Thanks for, again, 3 but not 4 minutes with Ryland. See you soon.